Trinity women's soccer takes a 2-1 defeat last weekend against Marian of Indianapolis. Here with head coach Patrick Gilliam. Coach, looking back on that early season non-conference matchup, give us some of your thoughts, and then we'll look forward to Concordia down the road.
Well, it was a tough loss, obviously. Anytime a one-goal loss, you're like, hey, we're in the match. In fairness, Marian was the better side on the day. The shots, the corner kicks demonstrate that, and just if you were at the match and saw it, as obviously I and others were, you would testify to that. So I give Gary and his team a lot of credit. They were ready to play from the opening whistle, really all over us in the first half, and a couple great saves from Serena Lewandowski in goal, and thought our defensive group did a fairly good job of dealing with the pressure, but we were happy to get to halftime just down a goal. Halftime, we talked a little bit about some tactical things, not really changes, but just kind of scripting for the ladies what we thought would be successful. And to their credit, they went out and pretty quickly tried to play that way, and actually saw some success. We started putting 4, 5, 6 passes together, getting some offensive third penetration, and sure enough, after about, I believe, 20, 25 minutes, found the back of the net, but didn't find it with like our first push. We had several other good strings of possessions. Just, we had more of the ball, in the first half. I think so much of our defending was because we couldn't just get a handle on the ball and have the ball at all. And when you don't have it, you're chasing it. And when you're chasing it, you're fatiguing, and attrition does ultimately set in. So to hold off that big push in the first half, I was proud of them. 9 corners, we didn't give up a set piece goal on there, and so there's something to be said for that, just defending 9 corners, a positive coming out of a tough half. But the script that we kind of told them for having some success, and they followed, and Sam got us a goal with about 20 minutes left, and I would not say at that point we felt like the momentum had swung our way, but we certainly, you're even and you're playing better, and so you're thinking, hey, this could be a real positive. Maybe a tough first half turns into a great opportunity and victory perhaps. But sure enough, just a couple minutes later, we cleared a ball. We didn't clear it high or long, kind of just outside the 18, and to the credit of the player from Marian, she buried it, and we bounced right back and probably had some of our best pressure in the minute or two after they made it 2-1. And so it's good to see that resiliency. It's good to see that they kept following the script. I think we learned a little bit about how we are best in attack with that halftime talk, and then how they went out and played. We're still trying to figure out who we are, I think, both personality-wise as a team, but even personnel. It's really 2 games in. You can say, oh, we've been here a long time, and we had Costa Rica, and we had 2 or 3 weeks of training and 2 scrimmages, but at the end of the day, Greg, we've had 2 matches, and so you're like, and we're a deeper team this year, and so with the depth, and especially in a game where you're chasing the game like we were Saturday, you're just trying all these different combinations, and sometimes that's wonderful. You stumble upon something that really works, and sometimes that makes it hard for players to find cohesiveness, because you're mixing it up and trying to find out what the right mix is. And so I don't regret how we handled that on Saturday as coaches. I'd just say we're still trying to figure out what are the best combinations, and even maybe who to start with, who comes off the bench, who plays well next to this person. Those are things that I think we're still attempting to figure out, and probably, if I talk to my coaching colleagues and friends around the United States, they're all trying to figure out. Very little is in stone right now, but we're just looking for that blend and balance that gives us success. And I think with the depth of our team, Greg, I think one of the things is like maybe who starts matches, who comes off the bench. There are players that just do better coming off in a reserve role, and there are players who starting is when they're their best because they're locked in from moment one. Or we've talked as coaches, maybe our veteran players, because a lot of them have had a fair share of success at college, individually and collectively. Maybe they're the ones that kind of lead the way at the beginning of matches because they've been through the war before. So we're just talking as a coaching staff, trying to figure that out. But like I said, in fairness to Marian, I thought they not only were the better team that day, I thought they played a great game. He should be very proud of how the ladies played, and we told our players, they've heard this from me already, that you can't give a 45-minute effort and expect a 90-minute result. You're going to have to, at the end of the day, put in a full 90 minutes when you're playing the type of schedule that we see generally, even out of conference, and definitely once we get to the CCAC.
To wrap up the homestand, Concordia, Michigan comes in on Saturday. I don't know if you had a lot of time to kind of take a look at that, but what are you expecting from the Cardinals that might be different than what we've seen from Marian and the Masters?
Right. I would say could be looking at a different formation. We obviously try to do our homework and do a little bit of scouting and things like that. It looks like we might see our third different formation of the season, which is probably a great thing for our players, to have to deal with different tactics and different tactical responses. If you think about when you're in training camp, very often you're training against your own formation, and so it's all it's all you see. You learn to defend against a team that attacks the same way you do. If the scouting is accurate, then probably this will be the third different tactical setup that we've seen from a team in 3 games. And if you add the scrimmages in, probably even maybe a fourth. And so our ladies are getting the opportunity to see how our system kind of plays out and the template lays across the other teams that we're playing. And I know they've been a solid side. We talked about the fact that really no soft spots in our non-conference schedule. I think they've already won a few matches this year, and I know that in the past have been very, very competitive, even in games that they maybe have dropped in recent years. They've been a competitive side that people speak highly of. So no easy matches, no opportunity to really rest or sit back. What I'm just hoping for is that we give a full 90-minute effort, and we'll trust that we know first and foremost the Lord is pleased with that, and that's the biggest thing we want to do is be honoring to Him. And then I just talked to the ladies a lot about you don't want regret. Regret is not so much losing. You'll look back many times and say a loss was formative in us changing and getting better. Regret is harder, and regret is we left some gas in the tank. We didn't give a full effort. And I think we learned some things as a team on Saturday, and hopefully this week in training, combined with just processing that loss to Marian, we'll be able to rectify and change some of that.
Trojan Cardinals take the field Saturday as part of a men's and women's doubleheader. Women kick off at 3. Coach, thanks.
Thank you, Greg.